Hello, thank you for watching another video in this online PD session. So this video is about helping our students to use all of the information that they know about what they've read to make solid predictions about what they believe is going to happen next in the text that they're reading. So when we think about especially the last few lessons, we talked about the inner voice, helping our students to not only read words, but to slow down and think about what is taking place and ask questions and think to themselves what's important and what's interesting and truly what is the author's purpose. And connecting to the lesson that we just did, the last lesson, plot versus theme. So we want to help our students to piece together all the events and the plot to think about what is the theme, what does the author really want us thinking about as we walk away from the text. And so the lesson that I want to share right now is a lesson that I call Build the Case. Build a case to predict. So I'm going to read this chapter and I'm going to show how I share my thinking with my students about piecing everything together to build my case to support what I believe is going to happen next based off of what's been said in the text. So I'll continue with Because of Winn-Dixie, Chapter 6. I spent a lot of time that summer at Herman W. Block Memorial Library. The Herman W. Block Memorial Library sounds like it would be a big fancy place, but it's not. It's just a little old house full of books, and Miss Franny Block is in charge of them all. She is a very small, very old woman with short gray hair, and she was the first friend I made in Naomi. It all started with Winn-Dixie not liking it when I went into the library because he couldn't go inside too. But I showed him how he could stand up on his hind legs and look in the window and see me in there, selecting my books. And he was okay as long as he could see me. But the thing was, the first time Miss Franny Block saw Winn-Dixie standing up on his hind legs like that, looking in the window, she didn't think he was a dog. She thought he was a bear. This is what happened. I was picking out my books and kind of humming to myself, and all of a sudden, there was this loud and scary scream. I went running up to the front of the library, and there was Miss Franny Block sitting on the floor behind her desk. "Miss Franny," I said, "are you all right?" "A bear," she said. "A bear?" I asked. "He has come back," she said. "He has?" I asked. "Well, where is he?" "Out there," she said, and raised a finger and pointed at Winn-Dixie standing up on his hind legs looking in the window for me. "Miss Franny Block," I said, "that's not a bear. That's a dog. That's my dog, Winn-Dixie." "Are you positive?" asked Miss Franny. "Yes, ma'am," I told her. "I'm positive. He's my dog. I would know him anywhere." Miss Franny sat there trembling and shaking. "Come on," I said. "Let me help you up. It's okay." I stuck out my hand and Miss Franny took hold of it and I pulled her up off the floor. She didn't weigh hardly anything at all. Once she was standing on her feet, she started acting all embarrassed, saying how I must think she was a funny, silly little old lady mistaking a dog for a bear, but that she had a bad experience with a bear coming into the Herman W. Block Memorial Library a long time ago, and she never had quite gotten over it. "When did this happen?" I asked her. "Well," said Miss Franny, "it is a very long story." "That's okay," I told her. "I am like my mama in that I like to be told stories. But before you start telling it, can Winn-Dixie come in and listen too? He gets lonely without me." "Well, I don't know," said Miss Franny. "Dogs are not allowed in the Herman W. Block Memorial Library." "He'll be good," I told her. He's a dog who goes to church. And before she could say yes or no, I went outside and got Winn-Dixie, and he came in and lay down with a boom and a sigh right at Miss Franny's feet. She looked down at him and said, "He most certainly is a large dog." "Yes, ma'am," I told her. "He has a large heart, too." "Well," Miss Franny said. She bent over and gave Winn-Dixie a pat on the head, and Winn-Dixie wagged his tail back and forth and snuffed his nose on this little old lady's feet. Let me get a chair and sit down so I can tell this story properly." The end of the chapter. So at this point, I am thinking to myself, I predict that this dog is going to continue to do things that he's not supposed to do, yet do the things that he's not supposed to do with grace. And so he will keep being permitted to do things that are otherwise in the past been forbidden. And each time, as he is allowed to do things that dogs are not supposed to do, I think he is going to help to make someone's life a little bit better. So when I think back about what has taken place in this plot, I think about how Winn-Dixie was not allowed to be in the store Winn-Dixie, yet he was. And now he's made Opal's life better because Opal met Winn-Dixie in the Winn-Dixie grocery store. Then Opal brought Winn-Dixie home to the trailer park, and dogs are not allowed in the trailer park. However, Winn-Dixie was permitted, and now he's making Opal and the preacher's life a little bit better. When Opal took Winn-Dixie to church, dogs are not allowed in church. However, Winn-Dixie was then permitted to go into church, and Winn-Dixie helped with the problem with the mice, and things got a little bit better. Just like in this chapter, Opal has brought Winn-Dixie along with her to the library, and dogs are not allowed in the library. However, somehow this dog, Winn-Dixie, gets in the library, and that last line just warms my heart. When the old lady says, "Let me get a chair and sit down so I can tell this story properly to you." So I predict that this old lady is going to tell a story, and somehow she's going to feel better about her bear story. She's not going to be as frightened anymore because of Winn-Dixie. The title, Because of Winn-Dixie, I keep thinking about that. And I predict that Winn-Dixie, because of Winn-Dixie just being there, this warm, beautiful, beautiful heart dog, keeps making people's lives better. That's what I predict. Now, what I've done, readers, is I have built a case based off of what's exactly happened in the plot and then made my prediction. I've stayed close to what the author has written. I haven't brought in any outside things that are just wonderings. Instead, to build a good case, to make a good prediction about what's going to happen next in the text, we have to stick close to the text. And see how I stuck to the text, where I built my case that I predict that because of Winn-Dixie, every time Winn-Dixie enters someone's life, their life is going to be a little bit better based off of everything that has happened so far in the plot. This is what good readers do. We stay close to the text, and as we read along and as the book progresses, and we're now up to chapter 7, we can piece together the events that take place in the plot and think about those events that have taken place and look for patterns. See the pattern of every time Winn-Dixie enters into a new person's life, that person's life seems to be a little bit better. That person seems to be a little bit more at peace, a little happier. I see this pattern, and I predict this pattern is going to continue. And because of Winn-Dixie pulling that title in, people's lives are going to be better. I hope this lesson was helpful. I hope that it works well with your students. I look forward to your emails. Thank you so much for participating in this online PD, and take care.